Live from New York, the show that had a little bit of kale in their teeth and doesn't need to be yelled at it about just because I'm healthy.
I'm trying to help the guy out. Despite yesterday, Wild staring into the camera and was like, Brew and Nick just had the dumbest conversation I ever was a part of. I'm still trying to help you out.
I apologize for one part of the show.
Wild was heated.
You were more heated than either one.
Wild, right when I walked in this morning, apologized to me for that part, and I was like, what about the segment before? He's like, I don't apologize for that.
We did 20 minutes yesterday on look at how good these players are.
No,
and if they're not there, things go
that's not what we did.
It was a great segment.
It was great. I agree, Brew. Thank you.
Start with a rainy referendum. Rams beat the 49ers 12-6 in the first game this year with no touchdowns by either team. Nevertheless, Rams were better, and Brock made a costly mistake when throwing into what looked like, from some angles, quintuple coverage. 14 for 31, 45% completion percentage, 142 yards for your guy, Brew. When Purdy is bad, Brew, so is the team. The last 5 losses, he hasn't had a passer rating above 85.4. Now, he did have that Week 3 loss against the Rams where he played great, but Josh chopped it off there. Seems like Nick got in his ear before he made this graphic.
Well, then it would be last 6 losses. If you like 5s, 10s, you got mad. You don't like counting by 7s in football. I had nothing to do with it.
So there wouldn't be a 137.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know that graphic was coming.
Is this Purdy's fault, bro?
Wilds, what do they calling me in these streets?
No one knows.
I just told you yesterday.
The ambassador of something?
Impartiality.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
People,
no,
the ambassador of impartiality.
Too many syllables.
All right. But it means I keep it real, regardless of the name on the back of the jersey. Okay. If Purdy had come out here and cooked 250 to 300 yards, touchdowns, and they win, I would have gave him credit. So when he goes out there and struggles and puts up 6 points against a team that was giving up 25 entering the game,
that's right,
I got to put some blame on him. And everybody's focusing on the interception that you showed earlier, but Nick, 3 plays before,
he missed a touchdown.
He was wide open.
Wide open, the underthrow.
Yes, he underthrew
into triple coverage. Yep.
So obviously he didn't have a good game. The weather was a factor. Stafford didn't play well either. Purdy actually played better than Stafford in the first half and then was bad in the second half. But this was a team effort. I mean, Purdy, I'll put the lion's share on him because he's the quarterback.
Yeah.
But my goodness, the ghost, you're not going to like this, you will. The ghost of Jaquiski Tart was in the building. He was in the building.
Picks?
Matt Stafford's first possession, look at this. It hit him in a bad spot. The hands.
Okay.
Should have been an interception.
I mean, that would have been an excellent pick.
Excellent would have been solid. It would have been a good pick. Okay. Then here's the second. We got the second one, too. Yeah. On this second possession, we're having a whole different conversation. That hit him in the bread basket.
Now, that one you're supposed to pick off.
That was Jaquiski Tart in the bread basket. That could have been 2 interceptions.
Got a cast. He's a guy that just came off wrist surgery.
He's a great player, but still.
Look at him. He's got a club on his hand. And he can't make it. He has a club on his hand.
He can make it. All right? You're a professional athlete getting paid millions. Okay, and he's great. He's a great player. Yeah. Glad to have him back.
That's got nothing to do with Purdy.
But it has to do with the loss, is what I'm saying. So there's a lot of blame. But here's the thing. And I feel bad for Debo.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Even though I've been saying he's not an Avenger anymore, and that's fine. But that might have been 6. That was, midway through the third quarter.
Should have been close to it.
Yeah, and when you spend a week talking about I need the ball, and he understands. I feel bad for him, but so things could have happened where they might have been able to win, but Purdy didn't play well.
Yeah, listen, if you guys tell me every day, and we've argued about it for 2 years, and I'm the bad guy because I don't think he's franchise quarterback.
He's not a franchise quarterback.
No, I wouldn't pay him this offseason.
There aren't some tier 3 quarterbacks that are franchise? You think he's tier 3?
Yeah, and now we're going to get into semantics of what is a franchise.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
to me, franchise quarterbacks are guys that I don't have a problem paying. I would not be paying him this offseason.
Not either.
And so if he is though a franchise quarterback, then he needs to be treated as such, this is the context. The playoffs are on the line. They're at home. They're a favorite. They're playing their divisional rival. Their defense, despite the dropped picks, holds that offense, which just scored 44 against a Super Bowl caliber team, to 0 touchdowns, to 12 points. And Brock Purdy threw the most damaging interception anyone in the NFL's thrown all year. It was the interception that ended their playoff hopes.
Yeah.
This one.
The hopes were faint, though.
Well,
it's a bad pick, but the worst in the league.
Well, I mean, find me one other pick this year that took a team from a 1-6 chance at the playoffs to 0. Because that's what that did. Going into the game, Wild said they were, 11%, you said?
Yeah, they could have popped up.
Right, and they're down 3 at the cusp of field goal range on 2nd down, and he throws a pick and then gets the ball down 6. It was Hail Mary time, but couldn't even get the Hail Mary off because he takes a sack.
I think the miss on Pearsall may have led to that, him throwing that bad decision. You know
I totally agree with you. He misses that, but the guys miss passes. You then live to fight another down. You don't live to fight on that one. And so, listen, his bad games are awful. Mm-hmm. He has 4 games this year with a passer rating sub 75. The only people with more are both ARs, Anthony Richardson and Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, and rookies, Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. That's it. And so it's either quarterbacks that popped their Achilles last year, a quarterback who got benched, or rookie quarterbacks. That's it.
CJ's had some horrible games.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, the only quarterbacks with more sub 75 passer rating games than Purdy are those 5. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I just think,
I mean, listen, I don't know. On Monday, after Purdy played a great game against the Bears, the discussion pre-show and during the show was he's earned his contract. They've got to pay him. I don't know how the Niners, in good conscience, when they are probably about to be in the midst of a not-so-soft rebuild, commit $55+ million a year to this guy without seeing him again. Because as annoying as my Brock Purdy opinions could be, they are just as accurate. And the moment he was in league average circumstances, he looks like a league average quarterback. The moment. Last year, best circumstances imaginable, sets records. This year, league average circumstances, they're 6-8. And he's playing some of his worst ball. And by the way, sidebar, he can't evidently handle elements. Rain, wind, snow.
He hadn't been great in the rain.
Last year as well is one tough games.
Buffalo, he's terrible.
Right, in Buffalo, and so that's a problem as well. I don't know what.
He's been way better than Trevor Lawrence.
Sure.
Did you have a problem with them paying him?
I believe in Trevor Lawrence's potential, but right now that looks like a bad contract.
He's produced more than Dak Prescott.
I disagree with that.
He's won twice as many playoff games in 2 years.
But I'm also on the record saying I would have waited on Dak. I would have. I said all offseason. I said I would have waited.
As long as it's fair, I'm about impartiality.
No, I know.
Tua's actually helped his standing this year, but this is where
because they were so bad without him.
Yeah, but this is where. But if we're going to be fair, the other fair side of the Brock Purdy coin is Drew Brees. Is that he is that is his upside.
He's 2.5 years in. I mean, we'll see if he becomes Drew Brees. But there's a lot of people saying that at his best he could be Drew Brees. And just after one bad game in a rainstorm,
it's a terrible season.
It's going to say it's better statistically than Mahomes.
So I don't agree with that at all.
Statistically, it actually is.
He has a higher passer rating, but he's not better at anything else. He has 5 fewer touchdowns. He has fewer passing yards. He has a lower completion percentage. So it's not a better. And they played head-to-head, and he threw 3 picks and lost. It's not a better. He has a 94 to 92.5 passer rating. That's the only thing he has on Mahomes. And you agree. You know that.
No, I think Mahomes is better. But I'm saying statistically, no, he hasn't had a better. He hasn't had a better season, but statistically, I think it's comparable to Mahomes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd even say better.
Okay.
Statistically. Mahomes has been great in the clutch.
I'd be on an island on that one, bro. I'll try to support you, but.
No, that's fine.
The Mahomes conversation?
I mean,
I never said he's better than Mahomes. I'm just saying statistically, he's been right there.
Are you, just real quick before we move on, would you be fully confident paying him?
I've told you that I want to work something out.
If he says I want Trevor Lawrence's deal, 5 to 75.
Trevor Lawrence, I think I'm open to that. I'm trying to start honestly. I'm going to Brock Purdy and I'm saying I'm starting somewhere around 45 a year and willing to go up to probably 55. If he wants to set the market, then I like what you're saying about let's wait another year. But he deserves, I mean, I'm definitely willing to play. One game isn't going to nullify 2.5 years of good, or 2 years of good football.
Well, let's get to De'Vondre. Strange moment in the second half when 49ers linebacker De'Vondre Campbell declined to enter the game and then walked to the locker room without playing a snap. Yesterday, Shanahan said Campbell told him he didn't want to play. This afternoon, Shanahan said he didn't expect Campbell to be back on the team.
So I'm not as personally insulted as it seems like the guys who are on TV who've played football, and I understand why. Like, while I disagree with Aaron Rodgers that if you haven't played football, you don't deserve a seat at the football conversation table. And of all the people to have that opinion, very well noted immunologist Aaron Rodgers is the funniest of them. But I understand why for those guys this would feel like more of a betrayal than it does for me, which is, I mean, I thought it was shocking, in particular because of all the people to be mad that you're being benched for, when it's team captain, all-pro linebacker who popped his Achilles in the Super Bowl and is back sooner than expected, Dre Greenlaw. That was like, when he signed with the Niners, I would have thought he expected at some point Dre might be back, and I'm not going to take Fred Warner's job, so that's that. But maybe I shouldn't have been as shocked because when I was reading more about De'Vondre Campbell, I did find this tweet from the end of his time in Green Bay when he was still in Green Bay, not going out of my way anymore, and I'm not playing through injuries anymore because when S goes wrong, they always use it against you. I'm treating everyone accordingly and giving them the same energy they've given me. Focus on yourself and your mental. 59, you owe it to yourself. So Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch signed him knowing that was his feeling at the end of his time with Green Bay. So maybe I shouldn't have been as shocked, but it's incredibly odd for a guy to just be like, no, I'm out of here. And it was clearly from the guys who have played the game, like spitting in their face, insulting.
Yeah, because it was, and he used the word immature, Kittle. It was childish. Like I've had guys, kids, and even it's few and far between with kids and teenagers. But I've heard guys talk about, they weren't playing me, so then coach came to me, wanted to put me, and I was like, nah, I ain't going it. Like, look,
it is very high school basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, dude, when you saw what you said earlier, Nick, the 49ers are fighting for what little playoff hopes they have left. Fred Warner is playing on a fractured ankle, and guys are like giving their all. And you were mad because, as you said, this great linebacker comes in front of you and plays. Like, it was terrible. And I wonder if, I know he might retire. Was he 31 years old?
Yeah.
But I don't know if any team will want him. You saw it happen in Green Bay from your tweet. And now I don't know who's going to want him.
You don't think if he got cut, the Ravens would call him just out of like, we do need the help, and you were a good player one day. Like, I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, look, talent outweighs a lot of things, but it's just was a terrible move. What do you think? Because I know you got a different take.
I have worked in sports for a long time, as everybody has, and this story was so strange, it set off my something else is going on alarm bells. And when it reminded me of, and granted, everybody has different circumstances, so I'm reluctant to even draw a parallel to other things because I think that's unfair. Because the core of what I believe is everyone's going through something, which was the article of like what Kevin Love wrote in the Players Tribune. And it's like, remember Kevin Love was like bouncing in the middle of games, and it was like migraines, and it was like a stomach bug, and all the Cavs got mad at him. They had a team meeting. It just had a lot of similarities to that, and then later on, you find out something else going on. I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm saying I was surprised that, like, Bart Scott was ripped for having empathy towards Campbell. He's like, Bart Scott, like, people are yelling at Bart Scott because Bart Scott said, hey, we don't know the whole story. And I understand that people have their hypotheses that we're able to be like, oh, look, Drake and I came back and he did this and pop, 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 and pop, pop, pop. That way, this is the thesis. I'll just take every other explanation. And I think it's strange that part of social media is very much on everyone's going through something. You never know what people are going through.
Check on your people.
Every one
Check
of
on-
those
yeah.
athletes is going through something now.
Yeah, but
Guys
when
getting
something
divorced,
pops off
baby
that's
mama
strange,
drama, all types
right
of
there.
stuff.
No. Hey, what happened to? Hey, let's lead with kindness.
So
have a little bit of
Brew, I
empathy.
think
I'm
Wilds-
surprised there's not a lot of that
I
there.
think this was more about what you said. I think it was about Dre Green.
No,
Definitely could be.
I think that. So my money would be on that as well. I saw Wild's tweet today. So one of the things after he was done apologizing to me in his office today, we actually talked about the show, and I was like, and I think the shorter version of it is nobody seemed to give any room for. I'll give a quick example and move on to the Rams. When a player, with the Dak Prescott conversation James Jones had about, you know what I mean? Is he quitting on the team or not? There was even in that, evisceration, unless it's off the bone, what are you doing? In this, there wasn't even unless there's something going on we have no idea about, and maybe the answer is even if there is, it's unacceptable, so be it. But I think that's what was surprising.
Whatever was going on, and you can have empathy, it was going on probably before the game started.
Well,
and you
I
can
agree
tell
with
the
that.
team, look, coach,
Tell them
I'm
not going to be able to play today.
I'm just not into it tonight.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Rams moved to 8-6 with a performance that is the opposite of Sunday's game. With the win, their playoff chances now hover around 50%. Week 12 against Philadelphia, the Eagles score 37. The Rams give up almost 500 yards. Then New Orleans only scores 14. Then Josh Allen scores 6 touchdowns, but Brock then just is able to kick 2 field goals. So do you have more or less faith in these up and down Rams?
More, and mainly though, Nick, because now they really look like a good shot to make the playoffs. Like they kind of control their own destiny.
They do control their own
destiny. So because
destiny.
they are tied with Seattle, but they beat Seattle in Seattle, so technically they're in first place in the division.
No, they're not tied. They both have 8 wins, but Seattle only has 5 losses.
5, okay,
but they control it because they play them again. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and they beat, they have the tiebreaker right now, technically.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that's one thing. But also, I like that the run game, since they got whole with Nakua and Cooper Rush back, the run game is better now. Like Kyron Williams, who had a good year last year, and early on it was like, what's going on? He was averaging 75 yards a game rushing the first 11. Last 3, he's been 100 yards a game and over 102 of them. So when you have Stafford, those receivers, Nakua is ridiculous. That catch he made
so good.
on the back.
So good.
And now you got a run game too. Like that's gonna be something to worry about.
It looks like the defense at least has this in them.
Yeah,
so
this
listen,
is a good game.
They're winning the division. And I like Seattle. I think Seattle might end up finding a way to the playoffs anyway, but they're winning the division. And in the first round of the playoffs, if it holds, they'll get Minnesota, who they've already beaten. We can show you them there in Seattle's schedule. And what you're going to see is, well, the Rams have the Jets and the Cardinals, which is super winnable to get to 10. And then playing Seattle, they might not even, we can take that down, have to win that game.
Right.
And so in my eyes, someone's at the door, KW.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what is this? What? Oh,
wait.
What is
really?
Hold on.
How many acting bits
What do
do
you
we
mean?
have in one show?
What do you mean? The audience might be confused why we have Rams-colored flowers.
I don't think the audience is confused.
They might be. They might be new viewers.
Maybe. If you're a new viewer and just joining us, I'll talk right down the barrel here. Nick picked the Bears to go to the Super Bowl. The Bears aren't going to the Super Bowl. So then he started talking about sending drinks.
Yeah. Well, I was sent drinks to the Bears. I was flirting with that take. Then I had to break up with that
and
take.
you broke up with them, and then you had a
the whole
bounce
thing
back
was weird.
relationship with the Eagles.
Eagles-Rams winner got it, and now the Rams
are
Eagles
trying to
falling
catch
apart.
up.
So is it
No, I
over
picked-
between you and the Eagles?
No,
Not
not at all. I'm
necessarily.
not sending these
But
flowers. I'm
he's
receiving the
them.
flowers.
He's being courted.
I'm being, but I don't know. I'm curious
the
what this
Rams
letter
are
says.
courting Nick.
God almighty. What? What's
Is it
wrong?
PG?
This is too much.
Is this
and
PG?
super weird. Every weird idea I've ever had has never involved lipstick on a letter from an NFL team.
What does it say?
Gosh darn it. Thinking about you with a wink. Hope you saw the game last night. There's a There's a lot more where that came from. What does that even mean? If you know what I mean, hope to hear from you with lips, which means someone at our office or you kissed
The tape kissed it. I don't know what you're talking about.
It should be like a football or something,
just
or
letting you
a
know.
ram hoof.
I'm just letting you know,
not lips.
every time I watch the Rams play, I feel like they can go to the Super Bowl.
You're smitten, man. Just go ahead and do it now.
Look at this, bro. Look at the lips. A hoof would have been funnier.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.